Hi folks, it's been a while, but here we are with an edit from a wedding that I shot quite recently. I'm just going to talk through the edit, a few other bits and bobs, of course, as we go along. Now, I have spent probably most of my life trying to find a preset that works for me, and I probably was nearly there when I was shooting on a Canon 5D Mark IV, and I was quite happy with the way most of the images looked out of the camera with that particular sensor. Things moved on. I tried Sony cameras for a little while and I came back to Canon. The EOS R had the same sensor as the Canon 5D Mark IV, and the images from that were great. The camera itself wasn't really what I needed at the time. It certainly wasn't up to speed with the other cameras on the market, particularly the Sonys. Then the Canon came out with the R6, which was a bit better, and the R6 Mark II, which was an improvement on the R6, and especially if you're shooting both photo and video. So since moving over to the R6 and the R6 Mark II, I've struggled a little bit with the colors and the way the images have come out, the raw files from the sensor. And it took Adobe quite a while to come out with the camera matching profiles for the Canon R6, and I did end up making my own camera profiles using Color Passport, which were all right. I've recently purchased Color Fidelity camera profiles, which seem to be much better. And if you're struggling with your Canon R6 or R6 Mark II, or maybe your R5 files, then I would definitely suggest having a look at the Color Fidelity camera profiles. They're about £25 per camera body, but they seem to be much more accurate with the colors from the Canon cameras and more in line with what you actually see on the back of the screen, which I guess is some kind of JPEG rendition of the raw file. So here we are. We're in summer 2025, and I've been going backwards and forwards between different presets. I've tried the Archipelago, if that's how you say it, presets for one wedding, which looked quite nice. Last year, I used a few different combinations of presets that I'd got from Develop, whatever you call that as well, which the ones that I used the most were the Peyton Byford Tuscany collection, which I thought looked pretty good on these Canon R6 files. And later on last year, a friend of mine, Dan Wimble, photographer in South Wales, a really good guy, he recommended this pack to me, which is the Bieber profiles, which is from Bieber Vowels, an American photographer, California. Wouldn't it be nice? And they sell these presets through G Presets. And they also have an AI profile, which is available, clicked on that, which is available through Imagine. I think it's about $250, $300 or something like that. So this is a pre-trained profile based on this particular preset. So you run that through Imagine AI, so it's already trained. I don't use this personally. I'm not sponsored by Bieber Vowels or G Presets. I just like it. And on these particular Canon files, they have worked very well for me. They are quite forgiving, particularly with the yellow or kind of orangey tones, which are very heavy on the Canon files. I just added this bit in because I forgot to mention during the main recording here. It's just something I bypassed accidentally, which is this profile here. And so using the Bieber profiles, this is included in the pack. So it's a camera profile or a color profile, which you'll find in this section here. And this has quite a big impact on the way that the images look. As I mentioned before, I've got the color fidelity presets, which are the ones that are kind of better for the Canon files in my opinion. So this is the R6 Mark II portrait camera profile. So you can see there is a difference there, and it's really a matter of taste. But I mean, I quite like that as well. I think the colours are right for the Canon. So maybe I will change the colour profile. But this, when you use the Bieber preset, this is part of the preset. So there's a profile which is baked into the preset itself, which essentially this is another preset which sits behind all of this. So this, within this is all of this kind of stuff as well. It's kind of I guess you might call it a LUT. So this is just the base for that Bieber. So there's a lot of other stuff going on behind here, which you won't be aware of unless you kind of unpack that in another piece of software. So just to be aware of that has quite a big impact on the look of your images and really the base of this Bieber look as well. Like a lot of modern presets, they take out quite a bit of the blue, which is great for skin tones. Part of the tone curve, as you can see here, is a little dip in the highlights, which also smooths out the skin tones. That seems to be quite popular at the moment. So let me just show you here. So if you pump that up, it kind of gets a little bit contrasty in the skin here, but if you bring it down, it really smooths that out, and you see the lack of contrast in the skin tones, which is definitely a modern look. The further down you pull it, the more ridiculous it looks, but there is a level at which that skin tone looks pretty smooth. So that's that part of the curve, which I've noticed is quite prominent in a lot of these modern presets. The contrast is quite low and the saturation is reduced. So it's a very simple preset. It's filmy, it's slightly matte, it looks good on most things. So I've been using this one. It's the number one actually from the Bieber presets. That's that one there. So this is a wedding from quite recently, a place called Cardney Stedding, which is near to Perth in Scotland, and it was a really nice day. The weather was good for us. So sometimes when the sun's out, you can get a little bit worried that it's going to be a bit too harsh. You need to find shade for the group photos. There's going to be a lot of contrast. But it looked pretty good. The weather. This was the day before the wedding, actually. I think, or was this the morning of the wedding? Day before the wedding. I was just having a look around the venue, but as you can see, it's a really beautiful place. The morning of the wedding, so this is where I turned up at the venue. So I just decided I like the way the light was dappling through the trees here and the blue. I decided to stop at the gate, just take a picture of this. So this is kind of a scene setting thing. So when I'm editing these images, I'm kind of thinking, how am I going to open, and particularly the slideshow? Not everybody does slideshows, but I do feel that when you present the photographs in a slideshow, it is more of a storytelling tool rather than just giving a load of images. And this is what we do, is we show people the wedding from our point of view and show that we connect with it and we realize that it's a story, and we give the client this story. So something I've learned through trying to do more kind of hybrid stuff recently in video. I went on a course recently which was hosted by James Tracy, a videographer based up in the northwest-ish of England, and he talks about setting the scene. So wide shots, close-up shots, saying where it is, who are the main characters. And this is the way that I've always kind of laid out my blog posts and my slideshows, is that, the first few images, where are we? What's going on? Who's this story about? So you introduce the venue and you introduce the bride and the groom early on to set the scene for the day. So this image, very simple photograph of the sign, is kind of an opening. I'll probably use it for one of the first, if not the first image in the slideshow, just to say, this is where we are. And perhaps a wider image of the venue before I introduce the characters. in the slideshow, usually starting off with the bride and the bridal party, the bridal prep. So I don't usually make these videos that long, so I don't know if I'll carry on, or should I make this into 2 videos? I'm not sure. I can't see how long I've been recording so far, but I'll crack on. If people want to carry on watching, great. If not, don't worry. Just tune out, go and watch some cat videos on TikTok or something. So I've edited a few of these images at the beginning already. A couple of signs on the path leading up to the venue. And you can see that from over here. So this was shot on the Canon R6 Mark II using a 35. And the 35 I was using on this occasion was the RF 35 1.4L VCM, which is the newer 35mm for the Canon. It's a lot lighter than the old one, especially with had to use the adapter for the old Canon. I miss the character of it. I have to say, I miss the character of the old Canon lens, the 1.4 Mark II. But the main difference is just the weight in this lens, and it just makes the job much more easier, much more enjoyable. If I'm shooting a few weddings in a week, especially long weddings, as most weddings seem to be these days, 12 hours plus, carrying that thing around with me and using that as the lens that I use the most. So I arrived at the venue. Usually I arrive about half an hour earlier than I say I'm going to start. I had been to the venue the night before, so I knew a little bit about the layout of it and what was going to happen. I'd spoken to the bride and groom who was staying. And to put my bag and strategically place some bottles of water and things like that. Make sure I've had my second breakfast before kind of starting. So it seems to be a